What up, everyone? This is your boy Red Hawk. It is 12:15 p.m. in the afternoon on Tuesday, April 28, 2026, and I am going to talk to you a little bit about some memories that popped up as I recover from guttate psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on through my head. A lot of remembrances that just popped up, good and bad. Both good and bad, I'm telling you. Okay, where do I start? Back when I was in elementary school in Colegio, the San Juan, the Letran, and Calamba, Laguna, Philippines, I can remember uh, a little baguette gang that I used to hang out with. We were boys who dressed up in white shirts and sand khaki pants and black dress shoes, and we would hang out at this one recreational hut in front of the classrooms. We would discuss a lot of things like sports, food, video games, music, movies, TV shows, what have you. I could remember a classmate named Jonathan Sabio, aka Jones. He asked me about Resident Evil 3 and who the main protagonist was. Having played Resident Evil 3 and never getting through, I'd say a quarter to a third of the game because I was so scared, I knew who was the protagonist was. It was Jill Valentine. But still, when Jones asked me about that particular protagonist, Jill from Stars, I couldn't answer. I froze. And then, would you know it, Jonathan was like, "My God, man, you're pathetic. You need to play the game a little bit more." Little did Jones know, I would grow to love the game uh, many years later, as I have a good ton of titles within my library in GOG and Steam online. Oh boy, I gotta tell you, that was some kind of a memory. Let's see here. The next one that I have is a little bit more serious. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm a child of divorcees. Long story short, when I was growing up, I would see my biological dad and my mom fight and argue here and there. Sometimes I would think to myself that maybe it was my fault for existing. I am not the person to be depressed or have any intrusive thoughts about erasing myself. No, I am not that kind of person, but there have been times where I just feel so insecure and guilty about just living, even though it hasn't come to a point where I wanted to do the unthinkable and choose the easy way out, so to speak. If I did, I wouldn't be here right now speaking to all of you about it. But I digress. Some of the highlights that I remember include just watching my biological dad step off in our old house down at the Parish Place by Clark Avenue and Magnolia Boulevard here in Burbank, and just disappear in and out after like X amount of days or X amount of weeks back to his ship in San Diego when he was serving in the Navy as a gas turbine systems technician, or the GSM rating. Long story short, he went off with another woman who became my stepmother, his second wife. When I finished 7th grade in David Starr Jordan Middle School, Burbank, I ended up moving to Canoga Park, a some kind of a little bit of a rundown apartment by Satakoy Street and Topanga Canyon with my dad and my stepmother. I gotta tell you, folks, it was 5 years of sheer terror. that I would not want to wish upon my worst enemy. When I was in eighth grade, up until my senior year in high school in Coolidge, Arizona, I was given front seat, front like a bad front VIP seat towards watching uh, the mental and moral decay of my biological dad, so to speak. There would be times where he would just yell at me for no reason, and then other times he would be the loving, caring father that he was supposed to be. Like, for example, when I broke the toilet in our apartment out of anger for something I don't remember, he was calm when I told him that, hey, I'm sorry, I broke our toilet, and got our manager, Ryan, to replace it. He just told me and said, it's okay. I don't know what his condition was, whether he was diagnosed with anything, maybe some kind of bipolar disorder or OCD, I don't know. Maybe even those with the more complex scientific names that I shouldn't even be talking about here, but yeah, that was one of the only times that he was kind. The other times, he would yell at me for no apparent reason, even though I just did my best to be the best son that I could be. Throughout my time in Reseda High School and Coolidge High School in Arizona, I would think to myself, maybe he didn't want me. And I was slated to be disowned by him eventually. And so I had to think of something. I thought I'd go to either a military academy in order to become an officer in the United States military, either West Point, Air Force Academy, Annapolis, Kings Point, or even the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut. But I ended up enlisting in the United States Navy come senior year in Coolidge, Arizona. I could remember a good deal about some of the abuse that I encountered leading up to my enlistment. Like, for example, during my junior year to senior year, I was pretty much forced to get with this Filipina girl who was like a year younger than me. I was born in 1989, she was born in 1990. And my bio dad would marvel about how beautiful that girl looked in really short sleeve yellow t-shirt and a pair of blue jean Daisy Duke shorts. That she would be sitting on the picnic table like a supermodel out of a GMA or ABS-CBN TV show, and I just couldn't help but feel so uncomfortable and think to myself that, hey, this is bound to be toxic if I ever hooked up with this girl. I was angry. I was sad. I was disappointed in what my male guardian turned out. Come to think of it, I don't think he ever respected my wishes of marrying somebody that's not quote unquote Filipino, supposed to say the least. And what with me being here in the U.S., I gotta tell you, growing up here, the common folk is white. Some of the most exotic cultures in this country, you got the Chinese, the Vietnamese, the Japanese, the Koreans, the Thais, and certain sectors of the Hispanic American community amongst the Latinos, the Salvadorans, the Nicaraguans, the Guatemalans, the Colombians, the Chileans, the Bolivians, what have you. And me, I wanted to get involved in the Japanese American community here in the United States. And I didn't get that opportunity to befriend a good deal of Japanese folks here in America until I started taking Shirinji Kempo and earning my green belt fourth Q in the fighting art. Looking back at what I've been through when it comes to abuse by my bio dad and my stepmom, I looked at the people that I trained with in my dojo as my best alternate family than a majority of the ones that I was born into. In my dojo, we have Japanese, obviously, white, Vietnamese, and Mexican kenshis or practitioners that I partner up with during my practice sessions in the dojo down at Zenshuji Temple in Little Tokyo, Los Angeles. And I just gotta say, I'm forever grateful that I met that little friendly gang in Little Tokyo. Some of the other things that been going on through my mind as I contemplate on my army enlistment. I gotta look back also on some of the abuse that I encountered when I was a junior enlisted sailor, junior enlisted airman E3 in the United States Navy. Long story short, I got out of the Navy in 2011 after 4 years of enlistment as an airman, pay grade E3, with the wearing the three green stripes on my Popeye uniform. I didn't advance to petty officer third class, which is E4, the one with the one chevron and the aviation electrician's mate badge on top of it, and the perched eagle above the AE symbol, which is the globe and wings. One of the factors that I had was that I didn't have my driver's license. I enlisted in the Navy out of haste from Coolidge, Arizona, because, hey, I just didn't want to put up with any further abuse in a broken home. And so I didn't get my license from Arizona. I wanted to get my driver's license from California, which I did when I got out of the Navy in 2011. I actually got my driver's license here in California in 2012, but then again, I digress, and I apologize for that, but I just got to add that little bit of detail so all of you could understand. Because I didn't have my driver's license, I couldn't qualify to become a move director as part of getting my plane captain or PC qualifications for my squadron's line division. And that was around when I was assigned to VFA 192 Golden Dragons, and then VFA 115 Eagles, both of which were in Naval Air Facility NAF Atsugi, Japan, in the towns of Ayase and Yamato. Tag 5. Nonetheless, I got to qualify for my Aviation Electrician's Mate AE apprenticeship, as well as F-18 Hornet, Duck Diver, and Brake Rider, which were 3 basic qualifications that I needed in order to be proficient as an aircraft electrician in the United States Navy. Overall, I would say 2/3 of my naval service many years ago was very fruitful. I got to visit a lot of cool places in Japan. Parts of Tokyo, which included Yokohama, Shinjuku, and Akihabara and Kamakura. I even got to visit the Otawara Castle by the coast of Ise, which was under the Hojo samurai clan, the one with the Triforce 3 triangles insignia. That was something. Seeing all the cherry blossoms and the samurai katanas and armors and some of the haori and kimonos that the ancient rulers of that clan wore. It was pretty fantastic. I even got to buy my very own Ninja Toe replica ninja sword, which I have in storage. Uh, but then again, that's another fine little happy detail that I gotta add from what I could remember during my travels in Japan as a junior enlisted sailor in the Navy. Now to some of the bad stuff that I needed to address. I had fellow sailors senior than me who were ranked somewhere between Petty Officer Third Class E4 to Chief Petty Officer E7. A good number of them, I wouldn't insult them and call them fat, but a good number of them were overweight and out of shape. And seeing someone like me trying to excel in the fleet, a lot of them develop insecurity and jealousy towards a person like me. My biggest fault in developing some kinds of different beefs with these people was that I let myself get deceived towards getting angry with their trolling. Looking back at it, I shouldn't have sulked when it comes to encountering these not so favorable people back in the fleet. I should have continued working on myself through positive means. I just gotta say one prominent example regarding this. A good. It is not one individual. I am not gonna name persons. I am not gonna name names whatsoever. But there have been like somewhere between 2 to 5 people who've been playing this little same name initial, same rank game, and it just kind of threw me. It just extremely threw me off. My last name starts with an M, so I was pretty much victimized into becoming labeled as a future Master Chief Petty Officer, pay grade E9, when I know in my heart that I never wanted that rank. And so I got I got really infuriated with these people. I froze. I know I should have pulled a first class with as a as a competent first class, petty officer first class E6, a leading petty officer or LPO of a shop, and have him mediate with these not so favorable people, and just for us to reach a resolution. But I didn't. I froze in place. I knew I was angry. I knew I was saddened by how these people acted, but I couldn't do anything about it. I just kept my mouth shut, trying to brush it off, trying to tell myself that, hey, these people were just joking, and that I really wasn't gonna become a chief, let alone senior chief or master chief, later on in my potential naval career. In the end, look at me. I am not wearing khakis with the color insignias of chief petty officers, which are anchors with the USN initials superimposed on them. Nor have I even gotten in any division chief petty officer LCPO qualifications down the road. I ended up getting out of the Navy as an E3 through the Perform to Serve PTS program, and ended up going to university to get my associate's degrees. My associate's AS in electronics from Los Angeles Valley College, LAVC. Bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science in Marketing Management from Cal Poly Pomona. And now I am on my way to earning another associate's degree, AS in Aviation Administration from Glendale Community College, GCC-LA, all before I enlist in the United States Army as a helicopter mechanic air crewman. That being said, God knows, I'll keep on pressing towards what I want and what not any of my former Navy colleagues want. If they just so happen to watch this video, I just gotta tell them, hey, don't mess with me. I'm doing fine. And whatever insult you threw at me back then about assuming that I was gonna be a member of the Chief's mess, I am not. I'm working towards what I want. Be it eventually becoming a pilot or an aircraft maintenance officer in the Army, as a soldier in the United States Army, and there is nothing you can do about it. I'm heading towards what I want, and I am bound to get those. In addition, I just have to say too that it feels that throughout the passage of time that I'm finally working towards overcoming uh, segments of my sordid past, especially the instances of bullying, abuse, and just overall maltreatment that I encountered many years ago as a child, as a teenager, and as a sailor in the United States Navy. I'm 36, male, Southeast Asian, with maybe a rumored Japanese and white ancestry, and I'm just basically thriving as a Californian, eternal Californian that's bound to travel to different places as I go along in life. And so for that, I think I've said too much. I'm going to leave you off with this. Fight on. Red Hawk, out. Peace.